Hi everybody, welcome to Thursday's TNT, second last day of the week, and usually a busy day Thursday when a lot of government and private organisations tend to do their media releases. This information out from yesterday, and the BTS Skytrain fares are going to rise next year. Now, I've been living in Thailand for about 11 or 12 years. I've been travelling here for some 25 years. And I've noticed that these fares don't usually go up that often. Let's check into the story. It says the BTS Skytrain fares on the original Sukhumvit and Silom lines will rise by 1 to 3 baht from January next year. Now, when I arrived and the first Skytrains were opened, those were the first two lines that were opened. And the carriages were just empty. The Thais didn't know what to do with this new Skytrain. Well, that situation is certainly much different some 25 years later. Let's see what's happening down the bottom there. The price of a one-day pass will also rise from 140 to 150 baht from next year. But senior citizen rabbit card holders will still receive a discount based on the old fares. So I wonder how often they have increased the fares. Well, the chief says the company has increased fares only 3 times in 23 years since the Skytrain opened. The last rise was back in 2017 when fares increased from 15 to 42 to 16 to 44 baht, and he cited global inflation as well as rising electricity costs and minimum wages as reasons for the fare hike. So, of course, yes, electricity prices are going up, and that directly affects the BTS. But wonder who's using all the electricity? Well, also from The Nation, the DSI cracks down on electricity theft for crypto mining. The Department of Special Investigations conducted a lightning operation and inspected 41 places that are used illegal electricity connections for crypto mining in Greater Bangkok. Now, crypto mining is basically just banks of computers set up to mine new cryptocurrency. I'm not going to go into the specifics of all that, but it does suck a lot of electricity out of the grid. And the DSI requested a search warrant, and they searched for evidence of electricity theft and seized more than 2,000 crypto mining tools valued around 400 million baht, and around 100 crypto mining tools were found in each building, and they were connected to electric cables illegally without any electricity meter, so the electricity bill was considerably lower. How much lower? Well, the electricity cost incurred by the suspects was around 300 to 2,000 baht per month, which is the sort of money that we'd expect to pay for living in a house, while the actual cost should have been around 500,000 baht per spot. So they were getting the electricity fairly cheap. I wonder what you're paying for your electricity. I'm in a 3-bedroom house. We've got the pool at the back. Sometimes only maybe 3 months a year, turn the aircon on for a couple of hours to cool down a room before I go to bed. 2 people living here, usually 700-800 baht a month. That would be the average. I wonder what you're paying. So all this crypto mining, I wonder what they're using it for. Surely it couldn't be for Bitcoin. I mean, gee, look what's happened there. There we go. Going from a top of about 2.1 million baht per Bitcoin on the 12th of November last year down to 601,000 now. That's about a 70% drop. I do have some friends who did invest in BitCub, one of the crypto exchanges here in Thailand, and just about all of them have lost just about everything they invested, perhaps investing in something they didn't fully understand. Anyway, so I'm sure the electricity people are going to be chasing those people for a few back payments on their electricity bills. With thanks to 5 Star Marine, our sponsors on the program. Thank you for your ongoing support. And there couldn't be a better day than today to head out to one of those islands off Phuket. Would be a magnificent trip indeed. And thank you too for dropping in. Don't forget, this Saturday we've got an ophthalmologist coming in. He, in fact, is the gentleman who operated on my eyes some 3 years ago, and we'll be talking about the surgery that I had and other problems for people over 40 and getting better vision at this time of life. So he's our guest on Saturday, and you can join in. Anybody can join in. Just get into the stream at around about 9 a.m. Thai time on Saturday, and the session is called I Can See Clearly Now. And I promise I won't start singing. This is TNT. You're watching the TNT program, and we're heading up to the far north of Thailand now, near the Chiang Rai Myanmar border. Large haul of narcotics seized in Myanmar en route to Thailand, according to Thai PBS World. And they say they've seized a large quantity of narcotics destined for Thailand across the Thai-Myanmar border from the Chiang Rai province. This happened on Monday. They got 113 kilograms of happy water, 616 ecstasy tablets, 35,000 Iramin 5 tablets, we'll get to that in just a moment, and 20 pill compression molds. So as I've often said, I'm sure this is just a tip of the iceberg. You get a sense sometimes that these drug manufacturers are sending these pickup trucks over the border intentionally just so the police do catch them. And of course they get their happy snaps in front of their huge haul of drugs, makes them happy and look good in front of their superiors, whilst of course 99% of the rest of the drugs just do get over the border undetected and to locations south. But I did note on that one that Iramin 5 tablets. What are they? Well, down the bottom there, Iramin 5 is a street name for nimetazepam, a type of benzodiazepine manufactured in Japan. It's an intermediate acting hypnotic drug and has a soothing effect on the user. Some sort of thinking maybe some sort of a sedative, something that you might take before going to bed. I don't know anything about that drug, but they did get 35,000 of those drugs. It looks like that may be one of the new drugs that is being manufactured now just across the border in Myanmar in the Shan state. Speaking of drugs, Thailand's monks feel high. Not on spirituality, but drugs. And this from samarenglish.tv. Monks undergoing drug rehabilitation. And 4 monks, including an abbot at a temple in Thailand, tested positive for methamphetamine earlier this week. A local official said that the temple, located in Phetchabun province, is now monkless, and the residents fear they may not be able to perform their ceremonies of merit. Yes, what if you need to get married or there's a funeral or something like that? Obviously, there's a little bit of turmoil in the Buddhist community in Phetchabun. Just noting down there at the bottom, on the street, meth pills sell for less than 20 baht. So there's certainly a flood of methamphetamine called yaba here in Thailand flooding onto the market. And I've heard people consuming or buying these for a lot less than that. So that story from samarenglish.tv. Just an update, we spoke about this gentleman yesterday. He was a 75-year-old British man, and he was caught on a zebra crossing, struck by a white vehicle. Well, police did track the vehicle driver down, and the story's got probably more questions than answers now that they've caught this guy. The Pattaya hit-and-run suspect meets the British victim to apologise, claims he did not run away. The suspect's name was Matanus Leeling. He's 61. He was charged with reckless driving and causing harm to others, though he insisted he didn't intend to run away. It was unclear why he left the scene. The victim, who had 4 stitches to his head, said the green light still had 12 seconds and he was in the middle of the road when he was struck. The man apologised to Mr. Palmer, saying he was unaware the victim was a foreign tourist. Like that matters? I don't think you meant to hit anybody on a zebra crossing, are you? Until police showed up at his house to tell him to surrender. The gentleman refused to make any further statements to the press or answer questions why he claimed he did not flee the scene, when the victim, multiple witnesses and CCTV footage appeared to show and say that he did. Well, I'm thinking there's going to be an amount of money paid to the 74-year-old British gentleman as compensation for his injuries. And also, I think police are going to be charging him given the weight of evidence that suggests he did hit and run. You're watching TNT. We're going to be talking about tourism and some headwinds that are being predicted next year for the local tourism industry. But at the moment, some of the main tourist areas, we're talking Bangkok, Pattaya, also Phuket, are in a little bit of a mini boom as we head up to the high season. We'll check on those numbers in just a moment. But good news for Patong, which is one of the main tourist drivers and money makers for the southern island in Phuket, and Phuket-go.com reports that Patong Hill is now open to small vehicles in both directions. Now, when we say small vehicles, they're talking about cars. Motorbikes, of course, have been able to travel in both directions for quite a while now, but cars have only been able to come out of Patong over the hill down into Katu, not the other way. But they're also calling small vehicles pickup trucks, some of them loaded, of course, with Burmese migrant workers. And then there's the passenger vans that can hold up to 8 to 10 people. They're also considered small vehicles. So here's a picture from yesterday, and we can see that that soil is getting much, much closer to the level of the road. Noting that whole surface area just collapsed down the hill, some 40 or 50 metres. Well, now you can see it's getting much closer back there to the level of the road, and they feel it's now safe enough to open up a couple of lanes for cars. So Patong Hill Road's now open to small vehicles in both directions, and the decision was made, that's on Tuesday night, to reopen the stretch of road being repaired to small vehicles, which include cars, pickups and passenger vans. So here's some video from Newshawk Phuket showing the traffic, the vehicular traffic, heading now in both directions, although the lanes are pretty skinny because they don't want to get people too close to the edge, which is currently being repaired. There's the repair area there in the distance, and yes, obviously that's progressing quite well now, and it looks like they should have that road open, fully repaired, I'm thinking, by about the start of next year. I think it's going to take at least the rest of December. Oh, happy December the 1st, by the way. But I think it's going to take the rest of this month to get the soil up to the level of the road, properly compacted and retained, and then, of course, the tar put on top of that. But tourism into Thailand is obviously very important at the moment, and everybody happy that the numbers are jumping up as we get into the high season. And now, being the 1st of December, we of course can look forward to at least a couple of months of the traditional high season. But the Bangkok Post is saying that tourism trade braces for more headwinds, public and private sectors to cooperate. I wonder what that means. We'll find out soon. Bum Kitty, the advisory chairman of the Phuket Tourist Association, said high competition will make it difficult for Thailand to maintain the market. Bum Kitty is a good man. He's a great thinker. He's a hard worker, and he was really the person behind the sandbox when it happened last year to sort of kick off tourism back into Thailand. He said some Scandinavian groups, one of the established markets of Phuket for decades, have shifted to Bali during the winter. Bali and Phuket have sort of been competing tropical islands in Southeast Asia for many decades, and it looks like Bali has had a better boom or better recovery than Phuket at this stage. Looking ahead to next year, he said there are still domestic factors such as concerns about political tensions with the general election expected to take place next year. Well, it will take place, and it'll probably take place during May. He says that surging prices and the Russia-Ukraine conflict are also affecting tourism spending. Well, that's happening around the world, not just here in Thailand, and it could make it harder for the Tourism Authority of Thailand to boost expenditure per trip. Now, just noting, though, that with the Russia-Ukraine war causing a lot of upset to the travel industry around the world, it appears that Thailand may have been a beneficiary of some of the Russians trying to get out of that country. The mass demonstrations against COVID-19 curbs in China will make travel restrictions more unpredictable. Nobody can guess how Beijing will react to the situation. So keeping our eyes out on those demonstrations and seeing how all that may delay or perhaps precipitate an earlier opening to tourism out of China. Further to Boom Kitty's comments, he says we'll need to have more integration between the public and the private sectors, particularly regarding the national carrier Thai Airways, and they should play a more integral part. I think he's right, because Thai Airways has seemed to be more reactionary rather than proactive to stimulate a return to tourism numbers in some of the key markets. He says most of the countries with a strong recovery were those that have national airlines that helped carry passengers to destinations they would like to visit. And he said at present there are very few direct flights to Phuket operated by Thai Airways. And down the bottom there, the president of the Thai Spa Association says the flow of tourists hasn't resumed to the normal level, while tensions from the recession and geopolitics will continue to affect tourism until next year. So, yes, just looking around Thailand, at the moment, the largest contingent of international visitors is by far Russian visitors. Now, a lot of people saying that, well, look, these people aren't tourists. They're actually people either fleeing the country or fleeing being drafted into the war. Interesting comments. And we'll just have a quick look at the numbers. This is from Phuket Immigration and covers the time from the 1st to the 27th of November, peaking in nearly 10,000 arrivals per day. And you can see the largest, here we go, the largest numbers are definitely from Russia, followed by Indians, Australians, people from the UK, and then Germany. And down the bottom, arrivals who are Thai citizens, some 2,000. So there's no doubt that a large contingent of Russian visitors, not only to Phuket, but to the rest of Thailand at the moment. And exactly what that means long-term for tourism, I'm not exactly sure. But at the moment, at least they're coming, they're spending money, they're buying villas, and we've got the high season. So let's hope the locals can make a few bucks during this time. As to what will happen when we get to Chinese New Year, probably without the Chinese during late January, and then getting into Songkran and the next wet season, it's really quite unclear exactly how tourism is going to go next year. We'll keep an eye on it and interested in your perspective too. But thank you for watching today's TNT, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.